Right, the next type of consumer application is discounts, and when you go shopping and you see different discounts around, this is how we can work with those. So example 5, an Easy Boy leather recliner originally priced at $950 is offered at a 35% discount. So the first question is, how much is that discount? So how much money are we actually saving? So 35 out of 100 equals X out of 950. And we can solve for X. 35 times 950 divided by 100. That would be $332.50. So that's how much of a discount we're getting. That's down to how much we have to pay. So the next question, how much do we have to pay before tax? We have to take the original price and subtract the amount we're saving from the discount, and that would tell us how much money we actually have to pay. Oops, 950 minus 332.5. We'd actually pay $617.50. So on your test, it's not going to ask question A. You just have to do question A to get the amount. It's only going to ask question B. So it's a two-step process. You have to figure out the discount first and then be able to subtract it. So it is a two-step process, but on your test, it's only going to ask the second part of the question. So example 6, Discount Diamonds sells diamonds at 40% of their retail prices. I think that's supposed to say off. Sorry about that. At 40% off retail prices. Find the sales price of a diamond originally valued at $1,950. So 40 out of 100 equals some amount out of 1,950. We can figure that out. And that would be $780. That's the discount. That's not what it's asking. So you have to find the discount amount to answer the question. The question is find the sales price of the diamond. So that's not the sales price, that's the amount of the discount. The sales price comes from subtracting the original price minus the discount. So $19.50 minus how much you're saving. The sales price, the answer is $1,170. So even though it's a two-step process, it's only going to ask you for that final result, and you still have to do both steps. All right. Finally, we have simple interest. Usually this is where students get a little, I just slow down a little bit for this one. The rest of them I think are pretty straightforward, but simple interest, especially if you're not familiar with simple interest, can be a little confusing. So there's a formula, and this is on your formula chart that I gave you back when we were doing the geometry. You'll see this I equals PRT. The P stands for principal amount, and that is a fancy way of saying your starting amount or your original amount of money. This is for credit card interest or savings account interest. If you take out a loan, you have to pay interest. R stands for rate. The rate is the percent as a decimal. The rate is a percent as a decimal. And then the T, this is the tricky part. T is time, and it's always in years. And you need to remember that there are 12 months in 1 year. So the word annual, and you might already know this, the word annual means year. So when you see an annual interest rate, sometimes you'll see APR. That stands for annual percentage rate or principal rate. So annual means every year, that's how much interest they're going to charge. But we have to break it down into months. And so we have to remember that there are 12 months in 1 year. Most of us pay our bills every month, and so that's where that comes from. You have to break your annual rate into a certain number of months that you're going to pay. So let's look at example 7. It says Ms. Reams took out a student loan for $10,000 at a 3.5% annual interest rate. How much interest will she owe if she takes 17 months to pay it back? So this is a little tricky. The principal, it's I equals PRT. So the principal is $10,000. That's how much she borrowed. The rate is 3.5%, but we have to write that as a decimal, 0.035. So you have to take your 3.5% and divide by 100 to get your rate as a decimal. Always divide by 100. And then the time, she's going to take 17 months to pay it back. 17 out of 12. It's always out of 12 months. And that's because the rate is an annual rate. She has to pay 3.5% every 12 months. So however much time she takes to pay it back, it's always out of 12 months. Alright, so if we crunch all that together, you can actually type all that in at the same time. 10,000. Watch your zeros. Oops. Times 0.035 times, and let's use parentheses here, 17 divided by 12. 17 out of 12. 17 months to pay it back. 12 months is what she has to pay that interest rate. So that, altogether, is going to give us the amount of interest she has to pay. So that would be $495.83. That is the amount of interest or extra she has to pay. That's the extra amount she owes from taking out a loan. And if you have a credit card bill, when you get your statement, it shows you separately how much interest you're having to pay versus how much is it your balance of how much you owe. So she's having to pay an extra $495.83. The question you're going to see will say what is the total amount she had to pay back. So that's the $10,000 she owes plus the $495.83. So the total amount she owes is going to be $10,495.83. So on top of the original amount she borrowed, she has to pay an extra $495 in interest. So that's how much she would pay back. Example 8 puts all that together. So again, I broke it into two parts. You always have to calculate the interest first and then add it to the original amount owed. So example 8, Mr. Jones lent his son $7,500 for a car. He repaid the loan in 9 months with an 8.5% annual interest rate. The question you're going to see is what is the total amount he repaid. You still have to do this in two steps. One step to get the interest amount and one step to add them together. So let's break this down again. Principal, he borrowed $7,500. His rate is 8.5%. We have to turn that into a decimal, which is 0.085 is his rate. And his time is 9 months, but it's going to be 9 out of 12. Again, always out of 12 because that's your interest rate is annual, so it's always out of 12 months. So we'll multiply those three things together, and that will give us the amount he had to pay in interest. 7,500 times 0.085 times parentheses 9 out of 12. That tells us that he had to pay an additional $478.13 if we round that to the nearest penny. The question is asking the total amount he repaid. The total amount he repaid is the $7,500 he owed plus the $478.13 in interest. So if we add those together, The total amount he had to repay was $7,978.13. And so that is the answer they want. So they're going to ask it as one question. You still have to do it separately. Find the interest and then the total. And they're always going to want this total. All right. So that is percentage. I would say for the most part, this is pretty familiar. The percent increase and decrease is a little new, and then these interest rates might be a little new. But the rest of it, I would say, is relatively straightforward. And that concludes the applications unit 3 on percentage.